Whilst coaches might not be sports psychologists per se, you are doing psychology within your role every single second, on and off the pitch, in and around the training ground. I want to help coaches become the best that they can possibly be in their role as a coach, delivering on psychology. And as I say, psychosocial or biopsychosocial, if you like, bio body, psycho-mind, social world, biopsychosocial, body-mind world is always happening. It's every single second. It's non-stop.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the FOOTYPOD. Again, here recording on Media Row at the 2024 United Soccer Coaches Convention here in Anaheim. Excited to be here. This is day two, second episode on day two, and our second appearance for Mr. Dan Abrahams on the FOOTYPOD. We're super excited to get you on again. Last time we had you last year was very insightful. A lot of information, and our heads were spinning after the episode. We knew that we had to have a follow-up and kind of expand on our conversation then. So, world-renowned sports psychologist, has worked at the highest levels with some of the biggest players and clubs in the world. Dan Abrahams, thank you for joining us again.
Sean, I am delighted, honoured, humbled to be joining you today. So thank you. Seriously, thank you so much for the invite.
Oh, very welcome. Very welcome. Thank you for your time. So what I wanted to talk about today, last time we talked about, obviously your ideas on player development in the sense of getting the most of their mindsets.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And there's another layer to that in how coaches can affect that as well. And so, I told you I would buy your books after that first interview. I did. I read them. Soccer Tough 1 and 2 is more about the player, right?
You're a legend, Sean.
Soccer Brain,
yes,
is more about the coach. So let's get into that a little bit more. What is the core concept of that book there?
So, Soccer Brain, as you say, I wanted to write something for the coach. I sat down and wrote Soccer Tough and Soccer Tough 2. Whilst coaches have bought them, they were very much for the player to read. Soccer Brain is much more about, from a coach's perspective, the culture of your coaching practice, your coaching process, your organization and the culture of your team. So I talk about 4 C's. I talk about a culture of creativity, a culture of confidence, a culture of competitiveness. I wrote this book 7 years ago, so I can't remember the last C. Damn you, Sean, for
You can't remember the last C.
No, but I wrote this so many years ago.
Hold on, Dan.
It's a culture of, I know the contents, but I can't remember the C. I'm deeply embarrassed right now. I wrote this book so many years ago.
It's got to be in here somewhere.
Going to ask me this. A culture of creativity, a culture of confidence, a culture of competitiveness. Commitment.
Boom.
Thank you. I knew there was another C. So, yeah, that and it was really trying to unpack what those 4 different cultures can look like from a coaching perspective. How can we leverage creativity, confidence, commitment, competitiveness to help players have the best possible experience within our coaching environment, within our coaching practice?
We actually met again this past summer in Germany.
Yes.
For the UEFA B license, and you delivered some of that content there.
Yes.
Is that something that you do often, going to coaching courses like that to be part of their coaching education?
Enormously. As a sports psychologist, I'm passionate that, whilst coaches might not be sports psychologists per se, you are doing psychology within your role every single second, on and off the pitch, in and around the training ground, and so on and so forth. So it's an every single second thing. So for me, I want to help coaches become the best that they can possibly be in their role as a coach, delivering on psychology. And as I say, psychosocial or biopsychosocial, if you like, bio body, psycho-mind, social world, biopsychosocial, body-mind world is always happening. It's every single second. It's non-stop. So I think there has to be concepts, tools, techniques, philosophies that I can help you guys deliver and any coach deliver on in order to help your players have better experience, in order to help players participate, progress, perform. So the participation piece being the engagement piece. How can I help my players engage today, this week, this month, this season, in this activity, in this session?
Mm-hmm.
How can I help them engage as an individual? How can I help them engage as a teammate? I'm going to adjust my seat here so I come around and address both of you.
Get involved, Evan. Get involved.
I kind of started this way thinking I was just so I apologize, Evan. The second P being progress. How do I help my players learn, develop, progress in the game, grow, and then perform? How do I help my players compete? Become better competitors, consistently high perform under pressure. So I think there's a whole range of things that I can do and other sports psychs do to work with and through coaches, to enhance the coaching environment and coaching practice.
It's so important. I mean, when we talk about maximizing a player's abilities and fulfilling their potential as individuals, you know, the mental aspect of it is pretty much all of it. At the end of the day, you have to get to the player's mind. And I think because it's something that's not so well studied in our field, a lot of coaches are not aware of like how to get the most from players in that way. And so, you know, like you mentioned, there are tools, techniques that they have to have, just like the players. And you mentioned some of the tools and techniques that players can use. For example, the game face, and creating that persona in terms of the way that they enter into a training session, into a match environment. But I think coaches also have to put on somewhat of a game face as well. So what would you call that? What's your name for a coach's game?
Yeah, well, I think, I mean, we first met in Germany when I was delivering on a course. Was it Germany?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and
Duisburg at the Sportschule.
That's right.
Vidal.
And actually, I think
shout out.
I may have spoken that day about this topic. So thank you for introducing this. As you said there, one of my number one techniques for players is to help players have a game face. The equivalent for me in coaching speak is to have a coach head. Okay. I think coaches need to put on their coach head when they are coaching. And it's very, very similar. To build your coach head, I want you to tap into 3 psychological tools: memory, imagination, perception. Memory, think about you at your best as a coach. What does that look like? What does that feel like? There's a camera on you, watching you, recording you in your best sessions. How are you approaching your coaching? What coaching behaviors are you engaging in? What would your players say about you when you're at your best? Imagination. What does a dream session look like? What would a session this weekend look like if you coached an incredible session, your players having just an amazing experience? What does that look like? Again, what are your coach behaviors? Perception, the third tool. Who do you need to be out there? Is there a model coach out there you can steal from, borrow from, embody, if you like? Memory, imagination, perception. Now, we're going to break down all the things that you've got going through your head now. We're going to break that down to some action-based words. So that could be alert, alive, belief, focused, relaxed, cool, calm, joyful. There could be a whole range of action-based words that you can choose from. Okay, they're adjectives. So if you just Google adjectives, you'll come up with a whole bunch of adjectives. Choose 3. Come up with 3. So let's think of 3 now. Well, Sean, we're going to do a session here.
Okay.
Give me 3.
On the spot. I'm in the hot seat now.
When you think of you at your best, when you think about your dream coaching, give me positive, confident, Alert.
Confident is one for sure.
Confident is one. Okay, we're going to come back to that. Give me another one. Relaxed, vocal,
Calm.
confident, and calm. I love it. He's going for C words. Can you give me one more?
Maybe something along the lines of in tune, present, maybe connected.
See what we've done there? Together, we've come up with 3 C's. We are building your book.
Might need to think of a fourth one.
Let's go with 3.
Okay.
Confident, calm, connected. Sean, you want a coach head that's confident, calm, connected. Confident, calm, connected. When I go out on that pitch, now, I'm going to be confident, calm, connected. Now, look, we could pick many more words. There's no doubt about that.
For sure.
But let's just, you're going to engage in your coach behaviors in an automated way often, but you're going to really emphasize the 3 most important words for you are confident, calm. What you want your players to experience is a Sean that is confident, is a Sean that is calm, is a Sean that is connected to them. Their consistency is heavily influenced by your consistency. So you want to be consistently confident, irrespective of what you're seeing out there on the pitch. You want to be consistently calm, irrespective of what you're seeing out there, irrespective of what your players are experiencing. You want to be consistently connected. Their consistency is influenced by your consistency. So confident, calm, and connected. Now, let's just with one of them break this down just a little bit to some behaviors.
Okay.
Let's break down confident. What does confident look like? Give me one behavior. What does confident look like to you?
I see what needs to be corrected and I correct it and it is corrected correctly.
Okay. Now there's a lot in that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's a lot of competency built into what you said. And I know, Sean, you're a highly competent coach. I know you are, but we can't completely unpack that. But let's try to unpack that a little bit. You see, so you are constantly observing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah? So you're constantly observing and you're anticipating. So a part of, and we're doing this very quickly. This might be a session we would do over an hour. So
I like this.
We're doing this speedily. Okay. Confident, underconfident, it's observe and anticipate. Observe and anticipate. Would that be fair that you want to?
And I think competence is tied into that as well because I can be confident in what to look for, right?
Yes. There's always going to be a broader and a wider explanation here, but and we can bring in more stuff, but maybe confident, calm, connection, confident starts with I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make sure I'm observing. Because a confident performer, you can't execute confidently if you're not observing. You get distracted a little bit and you miss the cues, the clues, the triggers around where you want to instruct or where you want to correct or where you want to ask questions. You're not going to deliver confidently.
Sure,
so you need to observe to be able to anticipate. Observe, anticipate. Give me one more. Give me one more about confident. What would I see? I'm watching you. You're delivering in a confident manner. What am I seeing?
Energy, enthusiasm, intensity.
Okay. I love that. Stop. So we want to observe and anticipate. We want energy and enthusiasm. So under confident, we've got observe and anticipate, energy and enthusiasm. Now we're building out your coach head. Okay. We've got our action words. Okay. And we're building some behaviors related to those actions. I'm going to be energetic and enthusiastic today. So you're writing your session design. You're writing your activities. Maybe you write this alongside your activities. Okay. Confident, calm, connected, underconfident, energetic and enthusiastic. Got to make sure I'm that. I've got to make sure I'm constantly observing and observe and anticipate, and that comes into connection as well. So, because they're all flow into one. We can build this out, okay? So we can build this out into a map of what your coach head looks like. Now you can be a better, more consistent coach because you're articulating on paper what that coach head looks like. I'm going to be in my coach head no matter what. Some days I'm a human being. I wake up, my thoughts happen to me. My feelings happen to me. My emotions happen to me. And not all of them are helpful. And when they happen to me and they're unhelpful, I can shift, I can flex onto my coach head. As the late, great Kobe Bryant said, mental toughness for him was not driving through pain, driving through suffering. Mental toughness to him was to be able to flex away from what's unhelpful to what's helpful. Mm-hmm. Mental toughness as a coach is about flexing away from what's unhelpful, what you're experiencing internally or what you're doing externally that's unhelpful, onto what's helpful. And that's your coach head.
So when you're talking about your coaching head, and I know obviously as players, it's very important to reflect and to look back on what we've done and stuff like that. What are some of the ways that you would encourage coaches out there to do that for themselves? Would it be recording themselves in their coaching? Would it be videos? Would it be, I guess, like an immediate evaluation after the session?
You know what? It's a wonderful question. A very simple answer there would be the fact that you've created a coach head now gives you an opportunity to create a feedback loop. Because you've articulated what that coach head is. Now, a very simple subjective feedback loop could be giving yourself a mark out of 10 for confident, calm, connected in Sean's case when he reflects on it. Even better would be to do exactly what you said, which would be potentially to use a GoPro, record yourself so you have some objective data there. Yeah. And maybe even better would be to have a critical friend who's by you. You could call them a mentor as well. It's probably, or a coach of coaches who's by you or who gets to watch the video. We had an intruder there.
It happens.
Who gets to watch the video, even if they can't be there with you. Yeah. So they watch the GoPro recording and they can reflect on action. I think that's such a powerful, powerful thing to do. The last thing to say there with reflection, a very good friend of mine who is a fantastic professor of sports psychology, Dr. Amy Whitehead, who's been on my podcast a few times, the Sports Psych Show. She has developed, or she's built upon, a protocol called Think Aloud. So you can have your GoPro, but you can also have a microphone where you are speaking into this microphone as you're coaching. So you're getting live data. You're giving yourself live data. And when you've got this coach head, you could be talking to yourself, about, how calm you're staying and what you're doing to do that, reflecting in the moment about what you're doing to stay confident. That, you had a few ants there, automatic negative thoughts. I squashed those quickly and I got back to observing and anticipating. I increased my energy and my enthusiasm there, and you're recording it on your mic, so you play it back. And in the moment, you're recording it, so you've got some accurate feedback.
It's so important. It's a reflection, and that closes that learning loop. It always has to be present, I think.
Yeah.
And,
well said.
With your ideas and the information that you put out there, it's so helpful for players specifically because they don't hear a lot of this kind of stuff and they don't get this information from anywhere else. And so having this as a resource is so important. And I know you wrote these books a while back. I think it's been 10 years or so now?
That's why I can't remember a damn thing about it.
A lot happens in 10 years. I understand.
You get old and you can't remember a damn thing. So that's how this works.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is there any main ideas or new revelations that you've had in your work that was not included in this book that is kind of developed since the book?
Oh, so many. I mean,
pick one or two main ones.
It's a great book, right?
Yeah.
But I've got so many. Oh, look, I just think that let me give you a main one that I'm heavily engaged with at the moment. And yesterday at the convention here, I spoke about competitiveness, but said to everybody and gave them tools and techniques around what you can do on the grass It's on the grass again. Yeah, look, you can do good sports psychology in your one-to-one conversations. You can do it in a group. I can come in and do something. Absolutely. But it's on the grass. You guys are such powerful psychologists in your role as a coach because you've got your cleats on. You're on the grass. You're there doing the sport, the small-sided games, the keep balls, the rondos, the 11v11s and so on and so forth. You're in there. You do psychology. So it's how do we pack an hour and a half of training, technical, tactical, physical, enveloping those in psychosocial? How do we incorporate leadership skills? How do we incorporate teamwork? How do we develop player traits, characteristics? Can we be values driven? And you can do that. Never underestimate 1 minute of time in your coaching, where 1 minute at the beginning you can have a quick conversation with players, or you can get players talking to each other. Talk about your values. If let's say you've got 2 values of creativity and determination, for example, you can have a minute's conversation, get players talking to each other about what creativity means to them today and what their teammates are going to see from them from a creative perspective or from a determination perspective. For example, you can utilize huddles between reps where players get together. You're being an autonomy supportive coach now. You're getting them talking. You're giving them opportunities to practice teamwork, leadership. Everybody bemoans, not everybody, but lots of people bemoan lack of leadership these days. But how often are you giving them an opportunity to practice leadership, right? So give them opportunities, between reps, between activities, water breaks. How many coaches utilize water breaks where you can consolidate memories? You can create better learners in your water breaks. What we know, if you want to be a great psychologist in your role, the forgetting curve. There was a dude in the mid 20th century, Ebbinghaus, who came up with this idea from his research of the forgetting curve. Basically, people start to forget things that you've taught them straight away. Within an hour, they've forgotten. It's something like 70%. Within a couple of days, it's virtually gone, apart from a few things. Right. So what about you utilize water breaks to ask questions, open questions about what they've just experienced? What did you learn? So you're testing, their learning, you're testing or checking their understanding within 10 minutes. But by doing that, you're getting them to retrieve, it's called retrieval practice as well, retrieve what they've just learned. You're getting them to rehearse it, and then talk about it. Get them talking about it in their water break. You get them talking about it in their water break, they will be better learners. They will remember more. There's so many things you can do in your hour and a half. So if you're asking me, well, what am I doing now? I'm doing so much of that at Premier League, at Feyenoord, in the Dutch Eredivisie, with work with the coaches on these kind of things. What can we do in an hour and a half? How can we train mental skills, attention, intensity, intent with our session design, putting in conditions and constraints so that players have to, they train their focus of attention and keep an external focus of attention, for example. There's so many things that you can do. There really is.
Amazing, man. Dan, I think this was a perfect progression off of our last episode.
Cool.
We pretty much picked up where we left off there and just went so much deeper into it. I think, it's something that coaches can take from a lot more. And us as coaches, just like players, should always be seeking to continue to improve in any way that we can. So thank you again for your time. And
before we get you off, I would like to say a couple of the players that we have had in the past that are a little older now, a lot of their parents reached out to me and said they really liked the last episode. Yeah,
True.
With you.
Thanks for bringing that up, because I had a lot of comments from
they were just
my players
saying
as well.
They got to see like a side of like stuff that they really never thought about with dealing with players, especially young players growing up, trying to be, as competitive as they can, not only just on the field, but what they're doing up here as well.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Of course. I definitely appreciate it.
Honored and humbled by that.
Yes.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Evan. Cheers, mate.